Hello, we are in week 8 language arts. We're reading the story for Louis Braille and answering the questions that was written by Karen Bischoff. I think that's how you say her last name. Anyway, I'm on page 194. The picture right here is Louis Braille. I'm wondering if you know anything about Louis Braille. Anything that you've learned about him before? Well, we're going to find out as we go along. There are 2 skills that we're working on, which is text organization, how the author organizes the text to help readers understand the story. And the other is main ideas and details, but is the main idea of that page. Okay. So let's start reading the story. Louis Braille. Louis Braille was born about 200 years ago. He became blind at the age of 3. Louis was unable to see for the rest of his life. Louis was smart. He tried to do well at school. However, he could not read. He could not write. Louis had to leave school. Still, he wanted to learn. What are some details that we learn about Louis Braille on this page? A couple of things. I'm going to underline just keywords. Well, he was born about 200 years ago. We know that he became blind at the age of 3. We know he was unable to see for the rest of his life. We know that he was smart. We know that he tried to do well at school. We know he could not read, even though he wanted to be a successful student. We know he could not write. And we know that he had to leave school. And even though all of that stuff happened, he still wanted to learn. Looking at the question down below, it says, whom or what is this text about? Who is this text about? I started a starter sentence for you. This text is about, finish it. Who is this text about? If you need to, you can pause here so you can copy my starter sentence for you. So this page consists of 2 questions. We have question 1 right here. And then we also need to answer question 2. Sometimes some of you only answer 1 question. Question 2 says, what is the first thing the author tells you about Louis Braille? You can go back and look in the story. What was the first thing that they told us? And I started the sentence. The first thing the author tells us is Louis Braille was. So I'll help you with this page. If we look back up, I have some things underlined. Louis Braille was born about 200 years ago. So the first thing that the author told us about Louis Braille was that he was born about 200 years ago. You're going to finish that sentence here. Okay? Take it right out of the text so you don't have to figure out how to spell words. You can look right in the text to spell it. I'm going to go to the next page. If you still need to finish writing the sentence, pause it. A special school. So I'm looking at the picture and I'm trying to think. Oop, here's the heading. It says it's a special school. Is this Louis? Is he teaching at the special school or is he a student at the special school? I guess I'm going to have to read to find out. Louis got a lucky break. He joined a special school. It was for children who could not see. He learned a lot there. Louis was curious. He wanted to learn more. He wanted the knowledge he could get from books. Why was Louis lucky? Yeah, because he was able to join a special school. But what was so special about this school? That's right. The school was for children who could not see. So we know he joined a special school, and the school was for children who could not see. And it says he learned a lot there. So that was a lucky break for him. That's why they said he was lucky. Let's look at the question at the bottom. Where did Louis go to school? Here's your starter sentence. Louis went to blah, blah, blah. Where did he go? Yeah, he went to a special school. But that's not enough. We're almost 3rd graders. Louis went to a special school for children who could not see. That would be a 3rd grade answer. So make sure you write it out in a complete thought. Let's go to the next page. I'll repeat that. Lewis went to a special school for children who could not see. Here I see that somebody's thinking, and I see that there's a picture that they're touching with their fingers. The heading says, or the title says, Lewis gets an idea, and it does look like he's thinking here. So let's see what he was thinking about. Lewis was blind, but he could feel with his fingers. He had an idea to make writing that people could feel. He thought of letters made of dots. They would be little bumps on the paper. So he was blind, which means he can't see, but he could still touch things and figure out what things were the way they felt. So he wanted to make a writing that he could feel, and then he could read like everybody else. Reminds me of someone we read about, Helen Keller. Okay? Think about how she was blind, but she was also deaf as well. He can hear. Tell why Lewis wanted to write letters made of dots. Lewis could not see, but what? That's right. He was blind, but he could feel with his fingers. It's right there in the story. He wanted to make writing that, what kind of writing did he want to make? Yeah, it's right up here. He had an idea to make writing that people could feel. Remember, use the words right from the story. Those are your clues. You don't have to pull it out of thin air. Next page. So here it looks like we have a picture of Braille writing, and it says letter A. Remember, we did this in class, and that must be the letter B, and this is the letter C. Let's see what it says. Lewis took paper. He made little bumps on it. Each set of bumps was a letter. When he joined the letters, he made words. Lewis was writing. Lewis made a motion over the bumps with his fingers. He could feel the bumps. He was reading with his hands. Read and respond. In order, list the steps Lewis took to read with his hands. So let's see. What did he do to read with his hands? Lewis took paper and he made little bumps on it. So this is step 1. He took the paper, he made little bumps on it. So what would step 2 be? That's right. So he made these little bumps, and each set of the bumps was a letter. So we know that. Step 2, he joined the letters. He joined the letters and he made words. Okay? And then what was step 3? Well, when he joined the letters, he was writing. So what would step 3 be? Yes, he had to make a motion over the bumps with his fingers. So he had to run his fingers over the bumps. And that would be step 3. And now he's reading because they wanted you to list the steps that shows how he was reading with his hands. So now write that down here. Don't just copy it word for word out of the book. Write it in your own words. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Right here, it looks like he's reading. We know that this is the letters that he created. And we see that he's kind of running his fingers along the page. And the title is Braille. So let's read to find out a little bit more. Braille. Lewis was only 15 years old. He made an alphabet for blind people. That alphabet is now called Braille. His idea let him write. It let other blind people read what he wrote. He started to make books written in Braille. What do we learn about Lewis on this page? What does the author tell us about Lewis? Yeah, we know that he's 15 years old. I'm going to circle it. We know that he made an alphabet for blind people. We know that the alphabet is called Braille. We know that his idea let him write. We know that it also let other blind people read what he wrote. And we know he started to make books written in Braille. So we found out a lot of things about Louis. Now, the question below says, who needed Louis's alphabet? Why did Louis make this alphabet? Did he just make it so he could have a secret code with his friends? He just liked making things? Why did Louis make the alphabet? So I'm going to look back at the things that I circled that were important. 15 years old. That doesn't have anything to do with why he made the alphabet. Made an alphabet for blind people. Oh, that's right. Why did he make this alphabet? Finish the sentence. Fill it out on the paper. Okay? Using the evidence from the story. Helping others. Okay? Louis stayed at the school. He became a teacher. He showed children how to read in Braille. He showed them how to write in Braille. The children loved Louis. He opened the door to a new world for them. What kind of children do you think he was teaching? If they're learning how to read in Braille, what kind of children was he teaching? Would it be children like you? No, it would be children who are blind, who cannot see like how he could not see. So they would need to learn how to read Braille. And the children loved him because before they met him, they were not able to read in Braille. They were not able to read any of the stories. What happened after Louis finished school? Look back in the text to find the clues. I'm not going to tell you this one because I think you should be able to do this on your own. What happened after Louis finished school? Up here is a picture of a page from a book written in Braille. It's pretty cool if you look at it to see how this person is using their fingers to read the words. Just like we have to learn how to read the words on a page with our eyes, they have to learn how to read the words and learn the alphabet so they can read on the page. Braille today. Today you can find Braille books in stores and in libraries. People all over the world read Braille. Many people cannot see. Thanks to Louis Braille, they can read and write. Why do we think the author wrote this story? Why would the author want us to know about Louis Braille? If you have to, look back in the pages. What's so special about Louis Braille that somebody would write about him? And after you finish thinking about that, I want you to answer this question right here. Why do people remember Louis Braille? Why is he significant in our history? People remember Louis Braille because, and then please finish the sentence. Why is it important to remember him? When you are finished, you are going to complete the reread and respond. Now, this part I noticed that some friends are not using the hint over here to answer the page or to answer the questions. Right here it says, why do you think the author told you that Louis Braille was blind? Hint, you must read every page to answer this. So if you need to reread the story and think, why do you think the author told you that Louis Braille was blind? Number 2, what is Braille? For clues, see pages on 198 and 199. That means go back to page 198 and 199 and reread it. And then write down, what is Braille? Do not just guess. Those of you who guessed, you know who I'm talking to. Number 3, did the author write Louis Braille to entertain you or to give you information? Here's a hint. If it was to entertain you, this means to make you smile or, to just for enjoyment. If it was to give you information, this means that you learned something new. Okay? So, which one would apply here? When you are done, that is all of the questions, or those are all of the questions for week 8. Okay.